Welcome to the 2021 Australian Petanque Nationals Open 60 Plus Doubles Final Principale.
This should be a cracking game with both teams winning their semi-finals by sizable margins, and unlike many of the teams at this competition, the members of each team are also members of the same club. We have St Andrews starting with a very good ball right on the jack, and just in the change over there I note that the St Andrews team of Gary Dyson and Peter Whitaker are in the plain dark blue shirts, and the team from the Grampians of Glenn Bovell and Trevor Kyler have the shoulder flashes of aqua or teal, depending on your opinion.
Oh, misses the shot there. But he doesn't miss twice.
A beautiful arc on that ball, right up to the target, and he was more than a little bit happy with that one. So an aggressive start.
And he's given his teammate room. So Gary will now be aiming to get a point right in there. My apologies, that was Glenn, not Gary. The second point's
a little bit
gone
disappointed
wide.
with that. Now he's taking a total change in style, taking the squat. For those of you wondering why some players squat when they point and some players stand, it can be a function of two things. One is that players prefer to see the ground from a lower angle, and it gives them a softer bounce because they're not throwing the ball up. And sadly, in the over 60s, it can also be a function of their worn out knees, and I speak from personal experience there.
So the Grampians team have played all their ball, I believe. They have left a couple of ball in front that could easily be knocked forward. But this is an opportunity for the St Andrews team to start off with a decent score. That did run into those ball in front, but no damage done. I think they may be checking to see whether that has in fact made it into play.
I think he's tempted to measure it, and he was about to put his balls on the ground and needed to just confer with the umpire to see whether that was okay.
It's gone a little bit wild.
It's definitely not what he wanted. So now Peter Whitaker has a chance to improve upon his teammate. One ball to come. Not happy with that one.
Lovely high arc on that ball. Just didn't quite wind up where he wanted it. So that was a result of 2 points for the St Andrews team.
I think they'll be pretty pleased with that. It's always nice to score some points early, be first, put the onus on the other team to catch you up, and then of course you'd be hoping in the second end to try and reinforce your lead. So a good start for them. Got a little bit long.
On the line, it just had that extra little roll to it. Oh, and that's a lovely ball.
Very nice. For those of you at home who are not familiar with competition petanque, you may be wondering why there are strings. The strings are, of course, dividing up separate courts which have been used over the weekend, but for the final the playing area is expanded, but the strings have been left in place. They don't cause any problems in terms of the roll of the ball, and may even help the players a bit.
One of those rolls where you couldn't plan it. You couldn't do it if you tried, but when you're not trying, that's when it happens. Right between the ball and the cosh. Peter's put a shot in, he's moved the cosh a little.
So all balls behind, they can be used for balls to rest against. But although they're behind, it's a reasonably tight-knit group.
And he's done it. He's knocked that holding ball out the back. Trevor would be pleased with that shot.
Nice one by Glenn. It looks like he's taken the point. Okay, Trevor now has the opportunity to take some points. Clearly not happy.
Just dropped short, and I think that pushed it off course a little.
Still have a 1-ball advantage, but the team of Dyson and Whitaker from St Andrews hold the point.
That's a good ball. Not only has that taken the point, but it's also sitting nicely in front.
So Peter Whitaker steps into the circle.
Just through.
Putting a bit of flight on the ball, which I like to see. Oh, it's a much better effort.
That's what they needed. Sitting right on the cosh.
And half buried it by the looks of things.
Yeah, that cosh is unlikely to be going anywhere.
That's a great shot that gives you a clear example of the granularity of the stones.
It just gets a beautiful roll in. Moves the cosh slightly, buries it, and sits.
And I think for people who are not familiar with the game played at club level, who believe that petanque is played on the beach in deep sand, I think this shows clearly that that is not the case.
That was Glenn trying to give that one a knock. Managed to find a line through and out the back. Oh, Trevor's giving it a push. But I think that has pushed it back.
He's very unhappy,
Yeah.
and I think I would agree with you on that.
Let's see what the final count is on this end. Thank you to the South Australian Petanque League for their support of the 2021 National Petanque Championships and for bringing this fantastic event into South Australia.
Yes, you can certainly see why Trevor was a little bit unhappy with that final ball, which took points away from his own team and has now given the team from St Andrews a very nice start, 5-0.
That looks like that's rolled on a little. Oh, Glenn puts one nicely in front there.
That's very much what they needed. Here's Gary Dyson considering a shot.
Gave it a little nick. But it didn't do what he wanted it to do. So Peter's going to step forward. An unfortunate bounce. That's a nice point. And it's a good lesson in not being afraid of that ball that's holding, because it's already holding. So tapping it forward, there's no damage.
If you don't take the point, you're no worse off. If you stay close to the ball or rest right on it, it can be a real saver.
And that's another nice one in there.
Making it very difficult for the other team to score points by erecting a fairly solid defensive barrier.
Ooh.
And he's done it again.
That's some
However,
lovely consistent pointing there. You've got to give it to them.
Bovill and Carlisle have got plenty of balls in the hand. And let's see what they can do with it.
We've gone with a shot that's bounced over the top and run into that back grouping again.
Chose to shoot on the ground then. It was more important that he hit, try to open some gaps. In the first effort he tried to hit more on the full, which led to a bounce.
Let's see what happened there. Comes in, hits, pushes the gosh back.
So they're still shooting, so either he was shooting for two or they still don't yet have the point. So a little bit of bad luck.
Just not quite getting there with that end. And that's another point for the St Andrews team, now leading in a 0-6 game.
It's a really solid start and clearly puts the Grampians on the back foot.
This broadcast couldn't have been put together without the generous support of the Petanque Federation of Australia. Thank you for putting on such a great event and putting together a competition we can all be proud of. Yeah, the Grampians team will be digging in now. They'll really have to make a solid effort to get on the board. And Gary will be hoping to keep his first point in front. And again, he's rolled a little bit far at the back. That's an opportunity that Glenn's going to take advantage of, getting a ball in there.
No great hurry. Just try and get back into this end, extend their lead if they can. And he's done.
Oh, nice ball. That's really throwing it back to their opposition. Trevor stepping up, ready to shoot.
He'll be keen to hit this.
And he does. Nice, gentle, easy. Looks very relaxed and it pays off.
Okay, Gary Dyson will try to replace the ball, force them to shoot again.
Looks like he's done it. They're all coming to check. Oh, it's not quite. Must have had that extra roll.
Judging by the flapping of the umbrellas, you'll be able to see the wind is picking up.
That looks like it's just stopped short. But
That's a great ball.
he wasn't going to make the same mistake twice. Nice roll in, and his ball's in a semi-protected position as well.
That's a great shot.
Nice shot. Surgical removal.
He would have been keen to not move the jack then, and he did it perfectly well. Slightly on the side, removing the ball but not moving the jack. So, an excellent shot from Trevor.
It's the last ball for the St Andrews team.
That's a fine ball.
That is.
Might 3 balls to go. What can they do? Looks like Trevor's going to back himself again.
Ooh. And it may not have been his plan, but it's worked out nicely for him.
Yes, I think that comes under the heading of happy accident, but he won't be complaining. Bit of a rider in there.
That's a nice ball.
That's definitely 2 and may have made it 3. So that was a very handy time to take some points. We'd like to thank Hip Pocket Workwear for sponsoring the broadcast this year. We couldn't have put this together without their support. If you need work or safety equipment that doesn't break your hip pocket, head to Hip Pocket Workwear. Yeah, sometimes you make your own luck, and I think Trevor did then. He'd be grateful for it. But now they've got some points on the board. You can relax a wee bit, and it's still going to be anybody's game. It's early on, but 4 points is not a mountain to climb, but it is a small hill.
That looks like it's quite close between the two, but he hasn't quite made it there. That one has, though. Taking the point nicely.
He's putting quite a bit of backspin on that, driving it reasonably hard, but the backspin is pulling it up, and that's contributing to it staying nice and straight. Even the first ball, although it was a bit short, still nice and straight.
I think having played long the last few ends, he's probably keen to keep in front and to turn his balls into an obstacle. That was a nice point. Came through, gave the ball a little tap, and took over the holding position.
That looks to be a pretty exceptional shot as well.
He's done it. He's
Victoria
moved the
has
gosh.
a large number of clubs in the outside of the Melbourne metropolitan area, and they've been real drivers of the growth in Victoria with the some large competitions and growing memberships, and obviously some quality players as well.
Oh, it's a nice shot. The ball has chased the cosh, but it's given them a bit of clear space. In it comes. Knocks. Unfortunately, the jack rolls further than the ball, giving them a little bit of open space. Which they've made use of.
Two balls to three. Peter Whittaker will be looking to put the ball in. It's a long end now.
That cosh move has given it a bit of distance.
And there's not a lot of room between Jack and the opposing ball. And
It's just curved out. Oh. That was a valiant effort.
not too sure then whether he was actually trying a shot. The ball came through very swiftly, and he may have figured that the chances of getting a shot were as good as getting a point from that distance and with the tight space that he has to place the ball. And if he'd stayed, could have been some bonus points in the offing there.
He's moved the gosh again.
And he's taken it out. I think he's killed the jack.
And because they're out of ball,
And the Grampians have two in the hand.
so that'll bring the score up to 4-6.
So that narrows the margin, and I think a little bit of good fortune came their way then, but they won't be complaining. From 6-0 down to 6-4 down is a considerably better position. So it's twice that fortune has smiled on the Grampians team. Plenty of space for Gary Dyson.
I think he has made it.
He's taken the point, but there's plenty of room. Plenty of room for Glenn Bovell to take the point back.
And that's the ball he would have liked to have played first. Nicely set in front.
The shot's on.
Oh,
Decided a point in the end, and that was a very, very fine decision.
clearly the right decision. Look at that. I can see some potential for more kosh movement on this end. Trevor unfortunately missing that first shot. And second shot going all the way over the top.
He's not happy. Snatches at the ball on the ground, his third ball, shaking his head.
It's another nice point in front.
Certainly needed a good defensive ball at that point in time. It's 1 ball to 4.
Oh, and that's going to make it harder.
Yes, there's a veritable cluster there.
Nice little wall.
With 4 balls on the hand, the temptation will be strong to try and smash the group, create some space. But that can be fraught with danger as well. At the end of the day, even if you create space, you've still got to get into it.
Oh, comes high and over, taps his own ball slightly. No change.
I suspect that he was trying to point hardish in to just open some gaps.
Oh, that's done it for him. They've got a little more space now. Ah, they've decided to take one. Rather than risking doing any damage with that wall out the front of the kosh, they've chosen to take the one.
I think it was a wise decision. There was a great risk there of pursuing a greed is good policy and accidentally knocking the other team in and blowing the point altogether. So I think that was a wise move.
There's always a temptation to play it, but sometimes it can be the smarter decision.
So it's a very tight match. Neither team is panicking by any means. They're all patient, poking and prodding, looking for opportunities, and the decision on that last end to not play a potentially dangerous ball shows that caution may be the order of the day.
I think he's just rolled on.
It's a fairly short end, but yeah,
Yeah, time for a measure.
I don't think either ball is particularly close, and making it really hard to make a decision. So, call in the umpire.
I'd say when in doubt. It was the bat ball that was holding. That's taken it.
A good ball by Gary.
And I believe an even better ball there by Glenn.
I guess the discussion here is, are they going to have a shot? The answer was yes, but the outcome was no.
Almost took the cosh by the look of that. I think he would have been hoping.
That looks like he's taken the point. Again, it's hard to say from up here in the commentator's box. Shoots, shakes the head. Seems happy with that one, I think. 2 balls to go.
Oh, that's a hands on hips moment.
So neither team is willing to take the measurements when you've got an umpire that can be called. It's always a possibility of an accidental ball move, and nobody wants to be accused of doing anything underhand. And in a game of this magnitude, get the umpire, play safe. Possibly save some energy as well.
That was a nice tap in.
That's 3.
Is that 4 I saw?
It looked like it. Yes, it was 4. So a big turnaround from 6-0 down to 8-7 up. The Grampians would be much happier with that position than they were previously.
They'll be hoping that momentum is swinging their way now.
Well, I'd say it already has.
Game's not over. That looks like a good starting ball.
As we get later in the afternoon and the shadows are elongating, this can be a bit of an issue for some people. If the jack ends up on the penumbra.
Now there's a word.
Can be slightly disorienting.
First point went a little far at the back. Second point pulled up short. So he'll be hoping this is the Goldilocks ball, just right.
Hands on head,
Yeah,
clearly
that's
disappointed.
definitely not a happy moment.
So what can Peter Whittaker do? The game has turned around. He'll be super keen to try and stop the rot. And he needs a good ball. And that was not the one.
Oh, that's better. Closer. Still not what he wants. See a little hint of frustration creeping in.
So 5 balls in the hand, damage can be done. Five balls to win.
As long as they can avoid that line up at the front, they've got a good chance of scoring heavily in this end.
Looks like Trevor stepping into the circle suggests a shot is on the offing. And that's a nice one. So presumably he's shooting to take the point. That would mean with 4 balls to go and a ball on the ground, it would be still possible for them to finish the game at this point.
That was a good point in. And another.
And you'll note that the players not involved in actually throwing a ball are retreating to the shadows as much as possible. It's quite warm here.
In to check the lay of the land.
That's a fine ball.
And they've done it.
It's over.
They have done it. Magnificent pointing in that final end. Score of 5 to bring them through 13-7. Magnificent comeback. Exactly.
From 6-0 down, they clawed their way back and ended up winning the game. A great performance by the Grampians and the other Victorians from other clubs. Pleased to see an all-Victorian final and clearly pleased with the outcome.
Massive congratulations. Good job, good game. Fun to watch. Thank you for being with us. This has been the Australian National Championships and it's been quite the weekend.